Hello everyone, my name is Deepika Verma, a Senior Research Fellow, batch 2019, under supervision of Professor Rajiv Kumar Sir, Sociology Department. Here in this presentation about culture, part 2, I will discuss few basic concepts of culture. Let's see them one by one. First is elements of culture. Every culture has some basic elements. According to H.M. Johnson's, these are cognitive elements, beliefs, values and norms, science, non-normative ways of behaving. So let's discuss them one by one. First is cognitive elements. Culture of all societies, whether pre-literate or literate, includes a vast amount of knowledge about the physical and the social world. The possession of this knowledge is referred to as the cognitive element. Even the most primitive or pre-literate people, such as the Andaman and Islanders, must know about many things in order to survive. Their knowledge is practical knowledge and never knowledge for its own sake. Knowledge related to how to get food, how to build shelter, how to travel and transport, how to protect themselves against storms, wild animal and hostile people is nothing but practical knowledge. Such knowledge is carefully taught to each generation. In modern advanced societies, knowledge is so vast, deep and complex that no single person can hope to master the whole of it. Further, every society has its culture, many ideas about its own social organization and how it's work. Next is beliefs. Beliefs constitute another element of culture. Belief is empirical terms are neither true nor false. For example, the Eskimos Sherman use fetish and goes into a loud trench in order to drive out the evil spirit from the body of a sick person. The Christian missionary who gives medicine to and advise the patient to take sufficient rest also utter a silent prayer for the speedy recovery of the patient. Such actions imply some beliefs, some kind of beliefs. The beliefs behind these actions cannot be confirmed or rejected on the basis of empirical evidence. For example, if the patient dies in spite of the efforts, the shaman he will have some explanation that will make him to stick on to the belief in evil spirits. Civilized men to create similar beliefs and pass them to the succeeding generations. Tested empirical knowledge and untestable beliefs are elements of culture because they are often mixed together in some concrete acts. Only through an intellectual analysis the different elements could be separated from one another. Next is values and norms. It is very difficult to enlist values and norms for they are so numerous and diverse. They are inseparable from attitudes except perhaps analytically. Value may be defined as measure of good or desirability. They are the group conceptions of relative desirability of things. In sociology, we are most concerned that with values that are directly or indirectly involved in social relationships, moral and religious values that have been to some extent institutionalized. Norms are closely associated with values. They are the group shaped standards of behavior. Norms impose restrictions on our behavior. They are model practices. They determine, control, and guide our behavior. In fact, values are cherished only through the observation of norms. Norms are established on the basis of values, hence, norms and values go together. For H.M. Johnson, values are general standards and may be regarded as higher order norms. Norms and values together constitute an important element of culture. Next element is science. Science includes signals and symbols. A signal indicates the existence, past, present, or future of a thing, event, or conditions. For example, a heap of half-burnt a heap of half-burnt particles of a house signalize that the house was caught by fire sometimes earlier. Similarly, wet streets are a signal that it has rained. Soldiers going to parade ground with uniform signal that they are going to have their parade. The signal and its objects are both parts of a more complex event or a unit. A number of invented or artificial symbols are used in social life. Signals and symbols are slightly different. A place bearing the word no parking is a signal. It indicates the presence of a place where one is not supposed to park one's vehicle, but the word in the play card represents symbols. Like a signal, a symbol means something to the interpretant, but it serves to bring a concept of something to his mind rather than to announce the presence of the thing in itself. In all societies, language is an important symbol system. At the level of pre-literate people, language is entirely oral. Written records have helped people as symbol system to depend on the memories of aged and knowledge of the past. Because of the ability to make use of symbols of written records, the mental horizon of the pre-literate man is likely to be very low. In this way, signs are one of the most important element of the culture. Next is non-normative ways of behaving. Certain way of behaving are not compulsory and are often unconscious. Such patterns do exist. Non-normative behavior shed over its normative behavior and symbolic behavior. For example, the Jewish gesture largely involved the hands. They tend to symbolize the subtle evolution of an argument, a train of thought. An Italian gesture involves the whole arm and they tend to express emotions. Both these system symbols have tended to disappear in the second and later generations of Jews and Italians in different countries. In this way, these are very few elements of culture which are essential and present in most of the societies where uh, let's see the next concept, which is the content of culture. The content of culture includes material culture and non-material culture, which means that every society has a culture of its own. Thus, people in different societies all over the world have different culture. These cultures are not only diverse but also unequal. Along with cultural diversities and disparities, they are found in societies throughout the world. We observe certain cultural similarities. People may worship different gods in different ways, but they all have a religion. They may pursue various occupation, but they all earn a living. Details of their rituals, ceremonies, customs, etc. may differ, but they all nevertheless have some rituals, ceremonies, customs, etc. Every culture consists of such non-material things. Similarly, people of every society possess material things of different kinds. These material things may be primitive or modern and simple or complex in nature. These material non-material components of culture are often referred as the contents of culture. In which first the material culture consists of the man-made objects such as tools, implements, furnitures, automobiles, buildings, dams, roads, bridges, and in fact the physical substance which has been changed and used by men. It is concerned with the external mechanical and utilitarian objects. It includes technical and material equipments like a printing press, a locomotive, a telephone, a television, a tractor, a machine gun, etc. It includes our banks, parliaments, insurance schemes, currency systems, etc. It is also referred as civilization. Next is non-material culture. The term culture, which when used in an ordinary sense means non-material culture. It is something internal and intrinsically valuable, reflects the inward nature of man. Non-material culture consists of the words the people use or the language they speak, the beliefs they hold, values and virtues they cherish, habits they follow, rituals and practice that they do, and the ceremonies they observe. It also includes our customs and tastes, attitudes and outlook in belief or ways of acting, feeling and thinking. Now let's see various functions of culture. Man is not only a social animal but also a cultural being. Man's social life has been made possible because of culture. Culture is something that has elevated him from the level of animal to the heights of a man. Man cannot survive as man without culture. It represents the entire achievements of mankind. So culture has been fulfilling number of functions, among which uh, these are: first one is culture is a treasury of knowledge, which means that culture provides knowledge which is essential for the physical, social and intellectual existence of man. Birds and animals behave instinctively. With the help of instincts, they try to adapt themselves with the environment. But man has greater intelligence and learning capability. With the help of these, he has been able to adapt himself with the environment or modify it to suit his convenience. Culture has made such an adaptation and modification possible and easier by providing man the necessary skills and knowledge. Culture preserves knowledge and helps its transmission from generation to generation through its element, that is language. Language helps not only the transmission of knowledge but also its preservation, accumulation and diffusion. On the contrary, animals do not have this advantage because culture does not exist as a subhuman level. Next function is culture defines situations, which means that culture defines situation for all of us. It is not only defines but also condition and determines what we eat and drink, what we wear, what to laugh, when to laugh, we sleep, to make friends with, what work we do, what God we worship, what knowledge we rely on, and what poetry we recite, and so on. In this way, culture defines our situation. Next is culture defined attitudes, values, and goals. That means attitude refers to the tendency to feel and act in certain ways. Values are the measure of goodness or desirability. Goals refers to the attainment which our values define as worthy. It is the culture which conditions our attitude towards various issues such as religion, morality, marriage, science, family planning, etc. And our values concerning private property, fundamental rights, representative government, etc. are influenced by our culture. Our goal of winning the race, understanding others, attaining salvation, being obedient to elders and teachers, being loyal to the family, being patriotic, etc. are all set forth by our culture. So in this way we are socialized on these models. Next is culture provide behavior patterns. That means that culture directs and confines the behavior of an individual. Culture assigns goal and provide means for achieving them. It rewards his noble works and punishes the ignorable ones. It assigns status and roles. We see, dream, aspire, work, enjoy according to the cultural expectation. Culture not only controls but also liberates human energy and activities. Man indeed is a prisoner of his culture. Next is culture molds personality. Culture exercises a great influence on the development of the personality. No children can develop human qualities in the absence of a cultural environment. Culture prepares man for group life, and provide him the design of living. It is the culture that provides opportunities for the development of personality and set limits on its growth. As Ruth Benedict has pointed out, every culture will produce its special type of personality. This fact has been stressed by her in her Patterns of Culture, an analysis of the culture of three primitive societies by another American anthropologist, Margaret Mead. A culture shapes the character and behavior of individual living in it. In this way, culture molds our personality. Next, can be a function of culture, that culture decides our career. Whether we should become a politician, a social worker, a doctor, engineer, or a soldier, a farmer, a professor, industrialist, etc., are decided by our culture up to some extent. We cannot say it is the only factor, but can be one of the major factor in deciding our career. Whether career we are likely to pursue is largely decided by our culture. Culture set limitations on our choice to select different careers. Individuals may develop, modify, or oppose the trends of their culture, but they always live within its framework. Only if you can find outlets in the culture. In this way, these are some essential functions of culture which regulates the life of a human in the society. I hope you all have gained some knowledge with this lecture. With this, I am finishing my lecture. Thank you so much for listening me.